So can you tell us the story behind how NELE started and how you guys came together to start this, and also your college life if possible?
NELE was started about a decade ago by Vinay and me, and shortly after that Manu joined. We are three partners. All the three of us are first generation architects and entrepreneurs, so we jumped in with little to no certainty, and
we kind of had experience in bigger firms like RSP and Inform, all the three. So yeah, in 2014 I think we started. And then we are doing institutional, residential, mostly residential and industrial projects. So yeah.
And all of you have your master's degree. How did that help in this, like starting a firm or anything, in your experience?
Masters and work experience in a bigger firm on bigger projects, it helped and also didn't help in certain ways. So it was we knew the know-how about working on projects, but getting clients' projects to delivering them single-handedly or as a group and learning everything in between them is what we learned on the job.
And how we handle the projects after the masters is changed. Even though the process and the size of the project the kind of construction units going here, it's different. The design approach is something we have learned in masters.
Okay.
Then you also understand why bylaws are made. So what happens if the bylaws are followed, and what happens if you don't follow? Like why certain bylaws become important? See, bylaws cannot be stagnant. So it can't be a 2002 or a 2003 rule put in 2024, 2023 where the real estate prices, the city dynamics, everything changes. So it constantly evolves in developed countries to match these things and safety of the people inside the built environment. So those things you learn when we work outside.
You spoke about the design approach. So, does the firm or in your projects, do you have a certain design philosophy that you follow, or something that's common in all of your projects?
Design philosophy is a very big word, I would say, and it's a moving target. It's also multiple design philosophies that we need to follow. At the bottom of it, there are multiple things like we need to be responsible to the client's desire and ambition to deliver a product that they wish to efficiently, and an overarching idea of working to maximize the potential of the site and the brief. Under this big umbrella, we will chase our small dreams or small projects. We work on small projects of, it can be formal expression, it can be some artistic interventions, or let's say optimizing of plan, of materiality, or anything. All of these kinds come under the big umbrella.
So as our name only does, it's NELE, it's mostly like context. It's nothing like design philosophy, it's based on the context and the need of the place. That's how we take approach. And every project is different from each other. So it's always evolving.
So we are not rigid in the sense that we have a prefixed notion of what design is, and then we try to enforce the same thing whether it is a house or a commercial or a retail or anything. So we see what best value that we can add in that particular project, and then we take our approach in that way.
Could you walk us through the process of designing from the time a client approaches you until the end of the project? Hand over the keys.
What kind of project do you want us to explain?
Residential.
Residential.
So yeah, bylaws is something we always push towards trying to agree on and build the same way. But in certain cases, as the city demographics are changing now, like how we explain, we change according to the situation as well, and the needs of people. So we take out the requirements, and we always try to give extra out of the requirement what they generally have. The space is what they want, plus what experience they can create. We can create is something we give. Okay, that is just the following from one, taking the requirement and giving them inputs is one, having a formal discussion. And then we go back to our drawing boards. We try to sketch. We do models. We do 3D printing as well. So after at least say 15 to 20 iterations we will be working before we produce like 1 or 2 options to the client. Okay, maybe based on climatic aspect, based on the material used, lighting, how we play around with lighting,
So how much
sustainable
time?
factors.
How much time does all this take? Like the arriving at all these requirements. Like how many discussions do you have with the client?
See,
Roughly about 40-45 days.
easily, yeah.
But we are looking at a medium to large scale residence, independent residence, which is spanning over like 5 to 10,000 square feet. So there are lots of possibilities, and zeroing in on one will, and in a very short time, will not do justice to the requirement of the client. And we need to put in maximum things in the first presentation itself so that we can get the project moving faster.
So even the client, even though they might say they have 4-bedroom or a 5 or a 6-bedroom, the clarity will not emerge until you have some 2 or 3 iterations to the client. So that's why from drawing to the foundation is somewhere at 40 to 45 days.
Also, we have to respect services along with
Structures, MEP, all that.
We've seen all your projects and you always have an interesting design, like a very creative approach towards every project. So how do you manage creativity with functionality?
It's an interesting question. I mean, firstly, I think clients come to us based on a sample of works that we have already generated, and at some level we will sync with them, right? So they will have some base level of play of light and everything. So in the first meetings, yeah, there are some things that we would clear it out to them, saying that it is not the run-of-the-mill spaces that you will get. So likewise, the time and the cost will also be impacted with that.
Also, there are some cases like when we are not designing only house, it's pure design. Also, we try to experiment like home theaters or like installations.
On the other end of the spectrum, we have very technical.
That's the thing. That we try to mix certain aspect of a particular space we design.
And
So that's how
most design is,
Tell me.
most design, whatever you're speaking is based only on residential design. Now, if you look at hospital or if you look at hotel, there your creativity and functionality means to be creative. It is not necessary that you become too different, right? So you can offer solutions in the known ways of how a hotel is designed. So if you change the structural system of a hotel and add more to the client, bring in more revenues to the client, optimize room spaces, sustainability, all these principles, that itself is creative. So creativity need not necessarily be visible creativity. So for that you need to have certain amount of experience of doing these kind of buildings.
Is it easy to collaborate with external consultants, contractors and all?
Yeah, I mean,
Since when I think it is easy,
yeah.
because everyone is working towards one common cause.
Yeah.
And the success of the projects that you might have liked some of our works, and also some of our clients. There are many projects that we've published also. So it's not individually ours alone. So there is definitely the consultant factor in that. So one of the first projects we won a national award for was the solar powered toll plaza. That was a competition entry. It was an open competition, so we took part, and when we won that, we got a good validation early on in our career, in the office career. So that was a good collaboration between the electrical engineer. We had to do immense amount of calculation just to arrive at the total panels that we need. And of course, we worked out a very efficient module for the toll booth and all that. So that was a good win-win. So and we can't really disassociate ourselves with the consultants.
Okay. So are there any strategies to maintain the duration of the project, like to keep the project on time? And
That is another
also
good
the
question.
budget?
That is a tricky part.
That is
Many factors. Many factors are there.
There are many players involved. What is in our control that we can control, but there are other situations where we can't do much.
Even if there is a financial stability for client and they would like to push the project fast, it might not be sufficient.
Many times. So out of 10 or 20 projects you're doing, hopefully 80% of the projects are running on time. That is what you can hope. Or somewhere between 60 to 80.
So we tried from our end maintaining like how on-time drawings or pushing the contractor to do certain specific details at the site so that they won't suffer in the later stages of the project. Okay.
Client
That is
has
something
the
we
budget,
try to.
but they want a design which is more
That's always the
more
case.
demanding. Yeah, so how do you convince them
Earlier we try to tell them, based on our experience and over the years, we know what will cost how much, time duration as well. But when we're talking about budget, yes, we will try to educate them, and showing them different materials and alternatives is also one of the approaches. Collaborating with professionals like contractors itself, they'll evolve. The client's requirements will also evolve. But if they're very rigid about the budget, yes, I mean, we just have to do the best that we can in that.
Okay.
Can also phase a project. This much budget at this time, then we can interfere with some design solution so that you can do certain things later on. So it's not one answer. It's not a linear answer.
Like how this apartments or buildings, they do one building, they sell, and then they create another tower. So that's also a phasing for bigger size of the project, which we do strategy studies for that scale of project. Yeah, that's there. But there, FAR is something we have to achieve rather than the budget or the timeline. Okay.
Is there any challenging project or a special project?
Residential side, yeah, that there's a project which we've called 84 Rocks,
Okay.
which is situated in Padmanabh Nagar, South Bangalore. It's a independent residence, but it's close to our hearts because we were successful on all dimensions, we can say, right from planning, spatial organization, to working with sections and 3D and interiors, everything all came together, the landscape, everything came together. And it has some unconventional proportions of rooms, which took a lot of courage for us to propose, and we were happy to see that the clients also welcomed it, yeah, and they really bought into it in the first presentation.
Okay.
They enjoy the space now.
Yeah, it's a successful project, and again, light and ventilation, abundance of that is at the heart of the project.
So coming to the, like us students, we wanted your advice. So in the industry, what should our portfolio necessarily have, or what do you expect from someone applying, like for an internship, and how do we build our portfolio?
It's an efficient 5
See, that is a question which even I wanted to answer when I was teaching students. Okay, so when you put forth a portfolio, it is not necessary you put forth the same drawings, same text that you have done for your semester. So you have to project your technical skills. You have to onto your portfolio. Okay. So ideally, the firms will first look at your software handling capabilities or your model making capabilities than your design capabilities. So you're not, as an intern, you're not being hired as a designer. You're being hired to assist a project architect or an architect or anything. So you project your technical capabilities first. And then the portfolio should have variety, that it should not be a repetition, rendering, no. So in that way, they can judge the bandwidths that you have, means the amount of project or the risks that you can take. So what we are trying to tell is that you shouldn't scan or put pictures of your drawings or your designs directly into a PDF or a PPT and combine it and send it. So you have to come back, remove all that, and then design and redo for a portfolios entirely, from your first sem to your 7th sem or 8th sem works. And then each firms internationally, when you apply, they will have a set of standards that your portfolio has to be in A4, it has to be in B5 or 2 MB or a 3 MB or a 4 MB. That is not now, but when you do your masters, maybe you need that. So you have to look at some portfolios, some websites or some handles where it is displayed good, and then do it.
See, we get a lot of portfolios. Okay, the first impression when you open a portfolio also matters a lot. And we won't be having time to open everything and read everything. So how you compose the presentation, and in the first glance we should be able to make out, okay, they have worked. We get many portfolios where repetitions are there, which we'll be able to make out just in like 3-4 seconds after opening the portfolio.
Even specific workshops or something that will showcase your interest. It can be some sustainable architecture or some particular material. If you can show that you've done some summer internship or something like that, which will.
And what are some softwares apart from the basic AutoCAD and SketchUp that is being used right now, and what about the modeling software, the BIM, and how important is that, like at this stage?
I think you should all shift to a Revit or a Graphisoft or Archicad. BIM will become important.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a good investment now. The ecosystem is not in place as such, but shortly it will.
So you need to focus on your Revit or BIM more than 2D drafting of CAD.
2D and then convert it to 3D. It is inefficient, but for some scales it works. Yeah.
And also you can control your services, your structures, costs, everything onto BIM.
So try doing, be efficient in one software as much as possible,
Then
and then jump in other,
3-4 projects.
yeah.
So how do you stay updated with latest trends and technological developments in this field?
We are attending some exhibitions as such. Of course, social media is one more
Yes.
platform.
Our self-learning, right? When we do one project, when we move to next project, when we move to the other project, we ourselves know where we are lacking. So we look for solutions for that. That will open up so many websites or so many people or YouTube. So we pick from that.
Is also important. Even a vendor collaboration will help us to scale up the techniques what we
Fraternity is good actually, architecture fraternity as such, quite helpful. When you ask for references and all, you'll find a lot of them. So there's no shortage for that. We all have our alumni groups and all that, so you can always reach out to them with a single text, so that is fine. But you need to know something basic to ask for a right product or anything.
Okay.
So let's conclude with the last question. Like, what would you give? What would be an advice that you'd like us to give? Not just in terms of like architecture in life, or like any tips for college life or something.
Okay. Whatever, like the way we teach architecture in colleges or the syllabus is made is from a very borrowed sources. Like your syllabus is not an actual representation of our lives and our perceptions about architecture or visuals. So the faster you understand that, what works here and what works there, how people perceive their lives, how people perceive life, and we start reacting to that in terms of architecture or spaces. And we are on a path to originality, that is what we can say. So
I think we are living in a very interesting stage or phase because it's just the rigor that counts, and this has been what I have been telling also in colleges also. So because you can do anything, social media and all that has given a platform, it is democratized, like they say. So anybody can upload content and anybody can put up their works. So what differentiates somebody from another is just the rigor that you put in. And you have so many examples of people just following what they're strongly believing in, like Vinu Daniel or so many architects, like these contemporary architects I'm talking about. They have a very specific style, and it's fueled by a lot of these contemporary platforms that we have, social media and all that, which can showcase how much you're willing to sacrifice, how much you're willing to give into that conviction. So that comes only with rigor when you start working with. That's forever. I mean, even we have to have that.
Also, I see this generation, they won't, not everyone will be ready to invest in social media or anything. Or show us the work when we teach. You take a risk, it's okay to go discuss, that is something not everyone will do. And you are asking question about how to evolve in this field, right? Take challenges, it's okay, you will make mistakes, even we did mistakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been coming up, stumbling upon these things that which says, also sort of what he's already said. It's not where you borrow it from, it's where you take it to.
Yeah.
So it's not where you steal it from. It's not steal, but inspiration is overrated. Okay, it's just you can take it from anywhere, but where you take it to. So that is what counts.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you.
That's it.